Standing for a pledge of allegiance. Loving God, we give you thanks that we're able to gather here today, and certainly give you thanks for this, the wonderful staff and directors for the city of Beaumont and all the public servants that we have, and give you thanks for the administration, and give you thanks for our city council, and pray for the health of everybody on city council, since there may be a bug present. And we ask all of this in Jesus' name. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mayor, and before you call for roll call, just for a matter of housekeeping, this is a budget workshop and not an actual meeting, so there is not where action items will be voted on or presented. So there will be no public comment or need for a quorum today.
Okay. May I have roll call, please?
Yes, sir. Mayor West.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Turner absent. Councilmember Durio.
Here.
Councilmember Hilliard absent. Councilmember Williams. Here. And Councilmember Sherwood and Crenshaw absent.
Well, Mr. City Manager, I hand this over to you.
Sir, Mayor and Council, good morning. Good morning to staff. The purpose of today's workshop is to give an overview of city finances, the budgeting process, as well as the community investment plan that we'll be proposing for the FY27 budget. Before I begin, I would just like to extend my appreciation to staff. A lot of work goes into preparing these presentations, so I just wanted to mention that as we get started. Okay, and again, the purpose, we're going to give, again, an overview of budgeting and city financing, and the purpose of that is for the benefit of the public, but also as a refresher for the mayor and city council as we move forward through this process this summer. So we'll start with what is the purpose of the budget. Again, it's required by city charter and state law. It provides the legal authority to spend city funds. It allocates resources to achieve city council priorities. It serves as the annual operating plan for the city. And it also communicates the priorities of the city to the public. And of course, it establishes financial accountability and transparency. Our financing and budgeting is done in accordance with certain rules and standards. The generally accepted accounting principles, Government Accounting Standards Board, Government Finance Officers Association, state statutes, as well as the city charter and municipal code. So right now, I'll just go over the budget timeline as we go through the next few months. Of course, today is an overview of budgeting and finance, as well as the CIP. That was weird. Did y'all hear that? Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. So again, of course, today is to go over municipal financing, budgeting, and the CIP. In a couple weeks, June 3rd, we'll be going over strategic planning, council requests, projections as we look towards FY27, as well as departmental requests. We'll have additional workshops July 13. The city manager will propose a budget August 3rd, and we'll have public hearings and council adoption August 4th, and then finally September 8th. But I will mention the budgeting process is never complete. We, of course, prepare it, adopt it, implement it, but it's constantly being evaluated in terms of performance. And then, of course, as we discussed at last council meeting, it is independently audited, as well as our finances, to make sure that we do have proper numbers for administration and planning. Best practices for city council budgeting, again, is to focus on long-term sustainability, not just one-year solutions. understanding recurring versus one-time revenues, monitor reserve levels and debt capacity, link budget decisions to strategic goals and performance outcomes. I will mention at this time, of course, the city, we have been operating under strategic plan for the last few years. I expect that probably in the fall of this year, we'll open that process back up and take a look, basically refreshing the strategic plan as we look forward. And again, as we look to FY28, the idea would be to readjust the budget in accordance with an updated strategic plan. And then again, best practice, encourage transparency, accountability, and regular financial reporting. So we'll talk briefly about the basics of governmental accounting. It's essentially a fund accounting system. There are separate checkbooks. Essentially, each fund does need to balance. We have several different funds. They're in different categories. The primary being the governmental, which would include the general fund, special revenue, capital projects. The proprietary funds, these operate more like businesses, so your water fund as well as your solid waste fund. These are funded basically on fees for services, but again, it operates more like a business. And then finally, fiduciary funds, so these are our trust pension funds that go to serve the employees. So we'll talk briefly defining a fund. A fund is a separate accounting entity within a government's financial system that is established to meet specific legal, policy, and operational purposes. And the funds are created to ensure that financial resources are accounted for in a way that supports accountability, compliance with laws and regulations, and effective financial reporting. This is very hard to see, but this is in our adopted budget, and it just lays out the different funds that we have in the budget based by category. So general fund, debt service, special revenue, and then over to the right, you see the proprietary, which are more like business. So that's where you have the enterprise funds like water and solid waste. So we'll start with one of our bigger day-to-day operating funds, and that's the general fund. And so primarily the revenues from that serve the general fund come from sales tax, use tax, property tax, fines, and fees. The primary functions of the general fund are public safety, so that's your police, fire, EMS, public works, streets and drainage, engineering, parks and rec, general administration, so executive office, city clerk, legal, and then social and environmental. Next is the Capital Projects Fund. So again, this is to fund infrastructure, major street projects, sidewalks, water and wastewater, parks and rec facilities, and other capital investments. And then finally, as mentioned, the enterprise funds. These are more like businesses. So this is your water fund and solid waste fund. And then we have our special revenues fund. So hotel occupancy tax, of course, is collected from special tax authorized by the state for tourism promotion. Municipal transit, of course, goes to help serve our transit system. Those funds a small portion actually comes from the fares paid. The majority comes from the general fund, supplementing federal funds as well as state grant dollars. So again, these are restricted by use and revenue. And so again, that's the reason why they would be in separate funds. And then we have the internal service funds. So as we look to operate our fleet, employee benefits, general liability, funds are contributed to the internal service fund for these operation expenses. Again, I want to focus a little bit on the general fund and specifically the revenue sources. So this is from the FY26 budget. And here I just wanted to touch on sales tax. So you look at the largest portion is 33.14% of our revenue for the general fund comes from sales tax. And again, this is restricted by the state of Texas. So 8.25 cents is collected, about penny and a half goes to the city. Again, as mentioned, that represents about 33% of the general fund revenues. The issue with sales tax, of course, as you all know, is it is sensitive to economic conditions and consumer spending. The next category of revenue is property taxes, represents 31.79% of the general fund revenue. And these are based on certified taxable values from the appraisal district. I know that can be confusing sometimes for some folks, that the city does not set the appraised values. That's done by an independent group, Jefferson County Appraisal District. In our case, they set what the appraised values are. Our revenues are simply based on the tax rate, which is set by the city council, but restricted by the state of Texas in order to levy property taxes from whatever that appraisal rate is. Of course, public hearings are required to adopt that tax rate. Tax rates are generally divided into two categories, M&O, which is our normal maintenance and operations, and INS, which is an interest and sinking fund to help for our capital projects expenditures, which we'll talk more about today. As mentioned, it is restricted by the state law. Years past, we could increase our property taxes by 8%, but more recently that was limited, so now we are limited to a 3.5% increase. I will point out, I think the national inflation rate came out yesterday, and I think it was 3.8%, so I'll just point that out. Our current tax rates are, of the total of $100 assessed valuation, this tax rate set in the FY26 budget is 0.659 cents per $100 of valuation. And of that, as mentioned, that is split between M&O at that rate, as well as the INS, which is the capital, funds for capital. And again, as mentioned, how the property tax rates are set, that is done by a third party, Jefferson County Appraisal District. Real quickly, I'll go over some additional categories. Industrial payments. This is our third biggest category of revenue for the general fund. In FY26, it's budgeted to be $20,114,000, and this represents 11.86% of the general fund revenues. I should note that these industrial payments come from industry in the most cases. And most of these entities are located outside the city limits in the extraterritorial jurisdiction. And they pay a negotiated amount in exchange for reduced services and exchanged for agreement not to annex them. Another category is utility in lieu of. So this represents about 3.6, let's see, well, total of 8.02. So this is your water, solid waste, hotel, hot tax. Let's see. And then the next category, let's see, charges for services represents about 4.13. That is our EMS charges, weed collection charges. That represents about 4% rather of our general fund revenue. Then going down the list, licensing and permits is about 1.37 of our revenue. Building code, building permits, things like that, health licenses, right-of-way payments. Fines and forfeitures, 1.7 million, that's about 1%. And then as we get down to smaller revenue categories, 1.7 million, or about 1% for cultural and recreation. So these are things like renting of the event center and other city venues, golf course fees, etc. And then we've got 0.75% miscellaneous revenue. So that's like use of our fire training facility, rental, and revenue from the Miller. So that's on the revenue side. Just wanted to give you a sense of the general fund revenue side. Going to the expenditure, we won't get into this too much. I just wanted to point out, and again, this can all be found in the adopted FY26 budget. But but this is how the expenditure of the general fund comes through. So you can see police is about 28.73%, fire 27.15%, public works 8.48%, transfers, facility maintenance 5%. So that's the general fund expenditure. This next slide, as I mentioned earlier, we are going to be going over projections and requests and priorities at the June 3rd budget work session. And we'll go over things like this more in detail at that meeting. But I wanted to go ahead and share today as part of this meeting quickly that we are faced with some budgetary challenges as we look forward. We do have in our financial policies that we should stay at a general fund percentage of expenditures at 20%. That's set forth in our policy. The projections you see here today are not final. They are projections as we see them and estimate them today at about the midpoint year in the budget, FY26 budget. But I wanted to go ahead and share them with you for planning purposes, because you can see if the trends continue as projected at this point, we would be at our 20% fund balance threshold at the end of FY26. And again, we'll get into this discussion more June 3rd as to the why. We all are aware of inflationary pressures. We're aware of, we've got contractual obligations in terms of pay increases, both for civilian, transit, fire, police, EMS. So I just wanted you to be aware of that as we get into the June 3rd meeting. We do, and we have been meeting, and we will be meeting on some possible scenarios as to try to avoid, continuing this trend, but we want to try to be as conservative as possible as we do look out into the future, because we do not want to find ourselves in 2027, 2028, well below the 20% threshold. So I just wanted to share this with you. On a lighter note, we, again, as mentioned, staff has been working hard to, come up with different solutions and possible actions that we will recommend we take in order to avoid this. But here's one potential solution. So again, we're looking at some options to try to avoid this situation. But I felt the sooner the council was aware of some of the concerns, the better. But with that, any questions about the finance or the budgeting process as we move into the next portion of the presentation, which is going to be the capital improvement plan? If not, I will turn it over to Molly.
So our focus today is on the capital improvement program, and this is our long-term investment plan for our parks and facilities, our recreation, downtown development, water, sewer, streets, and drainage. So then on the next slide, per the charter requirements in Article 6, Section 19, the city manager shall prepare and submit to the council a 5-year capital program. And so that is what we're doing today, is presenting to you our proposed 5-year capital program for fiscal years 27 through 2031. So it is a summary of all our contents, everything that we propose for the next 5 fiscal years. In addition to that, we add a column, and you will see it in the summary sheets, that says future. And so those are those projects that we have identified a need for, but we don't have a specific timing for it. So they may be further out into our planning horizon. So on the next slide, it is of course, a multi-year planning process. And we do prioritize our projects as best as we can to align with the strategic goals and also the condition of the assets that we are responsible with maintaining and managing. So there are several different planning documents that are associated with this. That includes the strategic plan, our payment conditions study, our parks, recreation, and green space master plan, our sidewalk master plan that we will be developing later this year, our comprehensive plan, our wastewater treatment master plan, our water production master plan. So there's a lot of work that goes into the preparation of today's plan. And so we're trying to, that way we can identify the impact both on operating expenses and what our long-term investments or issuances of debt should be. So the next slide is the different methods with which we finance these large projects, which we, depending on the funding source, is we can issue certificates of obligation, general obligation. So the certificates of obligation generally are for those projects associated with the general fund. Then the general obligation bonds, which we recently had the election, and the voters approved.
So I'll start on page 9 of your pamphlet. Athletic complex rehabilitation of parking lots in Eagle Brick Drive. Estimated cost $1.6 million. This project addresses the rehabilitation of parking lots in Eagle Brick Drive at the athletic complex. The existing pavement has reached the end of its useful life and shows multiple failures. Work includes repairing concrete panels, stabilizing base materials, milling, and replacing new asphalt. This investment plan improves safety and access at one of the city's most heavily used sports venues. Neighborhood park pavilions. Estimated cost, $2.9 million. This multi-year project constructs new shade pavilions at neighborhood parks throughout the city. The plan is to install approximately 2 pavilions per year, ultimately serving 16 parks. These pavilions expand usable space for families and gatherings, providing shade and weather protection, and improving the comfort of our citizens inside of the parks. Pool upgrades, Magnolia and Alice Keith Parks. Estimated cost, $2.3 million. This project modernizes 2 aging public swimming pools. Magnolia Pool, built in 1968, and Alice Keith Pool, built in the 1990s. Improvements include ADA accessible upgrades, replacement of piping and pumps, updated safety markers, and full system renovations. These upgrades extend the life of critical aquatic facility and support youth programming and summer activities. Splash pad renovations. Estimated cost, $367,000. This project rehabilitates splash pads throughout the city by replacing outdated underground equipment with modern above-ground systems. 9 of the 10 existing splash pads require repair. Moving equipment above ground significantly improves reliability, reduces downtime, and lowers long-term cost, while keeping these amenities safe and operational. Playground equipment and improvements. Estimated cost, $3.3 million. This multi-year incentive replaces playground equipment and adds shade structures at parks identified in the Parks Master Plan. Improvements will occur at multiple parks, ensuring safer, more inclusive play opportunities while modernizing our aging equipment. Renovation of park restroom facilities, estimated cost, $2 million. This project renovates approximately 20 park restroom facilities citywide. Improvements include interior and exterior painting, fixture replacements, and accessible upgrades. The work is phased over several years, upgrading roughly 4 restrooms annually to improve cleanliness, safety, and visitor experience. Terrell Park upgrades, estimated cost $25 million. This project transforms Terrell Park into a regional destination as outlined in the Parks Master Plan. Planned amenities include new playgrounds, a splash pad, walking trails, nature play areas, outdoor classrooms, and regulation cricket pitch. These upgrades significantly expand both activity and passive recreational opportunities throughout in Terrell Park. Babes of Harris Complex, parking expansion, estimated cost $1.4 million. This project expands parking at the Babes of Harris Complex to address ongoing safety concerns. Approximately 275 new parking spaces will be added through new asphalt parking lots, drainage, lighting, and sidewalks. This reduces roadside parking and improves access during high attendance soccer events. Collier's Ferry Park renovations, $450,000. This project improves Collier's Ferry Park by replacing gravel walking paths with wide concrete walkways, restriping parking areas, repairing fencing, and renovating restrooms. These upgrades enhance accessibility and help maximize the use of Collier's Ferry. Community Park in the South End, estimated cost $4 million. This project creates a new community park in the south end of the city, potentially near the Theodore Johns Library. Amenities may include park shelters, playgrounds, restrooms, a splash pad, and open fields and walking paths. Community Park in Ward 1, estimated cost at $4 million. This project constructs a new community park in Ward 1. Planned amenities include walking paths, picnic shelters, playground equipment, restrooms, and a small splash pad. I think that's it for me.
Mayor, Council, while Kenneth's up, let me just add or point something out. If you look in, down to starting with, we'll point out playground equipment renovation of park restroom facilities, Terrell Park upgrades. You'll see those that are highlighted in gold. If you look at the legend at the bottom left, you'll see general obligation bond. And so as we go through these presentations, you'll notice that some of the items that were in the proposed bond, in the bond package, what we've done as staff, not all of them, but most of them, we've kind of shifted to FY29. The idea being is to keep them as placeholders for a possible bond election in leading up to that fiscal year. So that was kind of the theory, kind of the strategy for some of these. If council, as you see some of these, and you can decide at this point that you want to continue with this recommendation to revisit these in a future bond issue, or you can decide to push them to future consideration, or you can decide to pull them out, of course. I will just point out that the CIP is part of the budget process, so it will be revisited every year. And so it can always be adjusted as you get closer to a capital project. So I just wanted to point out when you see some of these items, and especially in the gold highlight, those tend to be, those are GO, which are bond related. So I just wanted to point that out.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
So I know this is the CIP, but as far as our parks go, it doesn't look like we'll be doing much of anything to them next year at all.
So one of the things is, and I'll let Kenneth, so we don't, as of this point, this is the capital plan. And so these are looking at bigger capital expenditures in the 5-year plan. As we get into the budget hearings and department requests, part of that may be Kenneth and his department may be bringing back maybe smaller amenities that might be requests as part of the regular budget process. But I'll defer to Kenneth to see if.
Well, if we look at your booklet or the screen, we do have projects that are going on now. We will be installing some new pavilions. We have the upgrades on the splash pads going in as well. When it comes to our playgrounds, we don't have anything scheduled for a full playground replacement, but we are asking for budgeted money for increase on basic repairs to our playgrounds. Playgrounds are a big cost. So that's something we have to look at. Right now, they're pushed out to 29. Those were all identified in the Parks Master Plan. But it is something we need to look at.
So this, and I'm pretty sure this doesn't include like the day-to-day maintenance of the parks and
No.
stuff like that?
No,
Okay.
it does not.
But council also has to keep in mind that the items that were pushed back for 2029 is because you're restricted from issuing debt based on the bond restrictions. So a lot of your larger projects were things that council would traditionally issue debt for. And you're prohibited for issuing debt for any item that was listed in the bond. And so a lot of the projects that were outlined, that were pushed, were projects that were originally listed in your bond package.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
And we also have over $1 million that will start a renovation in Magnolia Pool here this year as well, too, going into 2027.
And you can issue regular money, like you can,
Yeah,
you can do regular, and you can use grant money. So I think in Terrell Park, I think we received grant money for some of those. which
Alice
park?
Keith project.
Alice Keith project, that was a part of the bond, but it's grant money, so you can spend money for that. And any other non-debt related funds can be used towards the parks as well.
Okay.
And I will say Ms. Halima, our new grants writer, is really active on getting us together and looking at getting grants for our Parks Department and other facilities inside of the city as well.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kenneth.
Thank you.
Next, we have Jimmy Neal, who will be introducing our recreation projects.
Okay, so what you see, we've got 6 projects listed. None of these are really going to surprise you. They're things that we've spoken about before. The pickleball courts at the tennis center, you see a cost of $971,000. We're just waiting for funding to be released for that. That's going to be the courts that are going in at Municipal Tennis Center, which is something we've been working on for quite some time. The next item is the fitness court. You see $200,000. You've heard me speak about this quite often, trying to get this court built. There's potential for about a $50,000 grant that we would get through Blue Cross Blue Shield of Texas if we were approved. When we first brought this to council, probably 21 or 20, the cost of the court installation was about $125,000. Now that court has gone up to about $200,000. So don't be surprised if it continues to go up. The golf course driving range net that you see, it says new. It's a little bit deceiving because we asked for that 3 years ago. But then if you recall, what we did was we did the drainage study at the golf course. Part of the drainage study at the golf course was for the golf course architect to provide us with options to upgrade the golf course. So we felt like it would be kind of silly to spend the money on a driving range net. So if you drive through Babes of Harry's Drive, the driving range is directly to your right. There's golf balls crossing the street all the time. Thankfully, cars don't get hit very often. But that driving range net is definitely something that we need. Well, when we thought they were going to potentially renovate the course, thought it would be kind of silly to put up a driving range net when potentially the range could be moved or anything else could be done. So we put that, kind of let it stay back for a while. Since the drainage study was completed, we got the opportunity to hear some of the proposals, which we'll get to in a moment, for what it would cost to upgrade the golf course. We realized that that's not going to happen right now. So we feel like it's a responsible move to try and get that range net installed. The next item you see, item number 4, the athletic complex number 4, that was in the bond. Obviously, it did not pass. So the difference between complex 4 and complex number 2, I'll just explain those briefly so I don't bore you with it. Complex 4, we wanted to do a full renovation, which was going to be turf all the way, from home plate all the way to the outfield fence. We were going to try to expand the fences a little bit. The idea was that we could get 13 through 16, potentially 18-year-old baseball to take place at the complex. As we know with Doggett, I'm calling it Doggett Park now, I think that's what it's called. Those fields only go up to 200 feet or 225 feet, which really doesn't provide for 13, 14-year-olds to play baseball. So we're definitely missing out on some revenue potential with those kids going to Lake Charles. Anahuac just built fields. People are going to Anahuac to play. They're going to Mont Bellevue. They're going everywhere else except here to play once they turn 13 years old for the most part. So the $7.4 million was for the Complex 4 renovation. The 2 million that you see that's listed in FY 31, kind of my hope, and our bond counsel shot down my hope, which is not really uncommon. I thought we could sneak it in because it was a different proposal. The idea for Complex 2 was just to turf the infields, keep the fences as they are. 275, I think, is the distance to the fence. So you could host 13 and 14-year-old baseball there. The idea was that we could turf the infields, get those ready for baseball/softball, utilize them for what we typically do, and then be able to capitalize on that potential revenue on weekend baseball tournaments. Bond counsel pretty much told us that can't be done. That's too close to what we were doing with 4. So we're going to have to put that one on the back burner for a while as well. And lastly, what you see is the Henry Humber Golf Course renovation. With the drainage study, the 2 proposals that the architect provided were 14 million and 19 million. Bless you. Those pretty big ticket items. So there was a little sticker shock. We were a little bit scared off by it. The proposals were great.
Town, portions of the CIP.
Okay, so we'll start on page 27. Colliers Ferry boat ramp and pier rehabilitation at $470,000. The existing pier and ramps are in critical condition. Based on the engineering assessment, immediate repairs are needed to the structural caps, timber runners, and fenders, along with planning for full replacement of the pier and longer boat ramps within the next 2 to 5 years. This investment ensures safe public access to the river and prevents further deterioration of this heavily used recreational asset. Food truck park, estimated cost $1.3 million. This project establishes a downtown food truck park through a public-private partnership. Planned amenities include a pavilion with seating, a small bandstand, food truck utility hookup, and restroom facilities. The goal is to create a flexible, inviting space that encourages downtown activity and supports local vendors. Lake District restroom facility. This project provides a new men's and women's restroom facility adjacent to Rotary Park. Playground in the Lake District. The scope includes plumbing, electrical, sidewalks, sewer improvements, and fencing designed to match the surrounding event center architecture. This addition supports families, events, and increased park use. Multipurpose center at Alice Keith Park. Estimated cost $11,247,000. This project proposes a new indoor recreation and activity center at Alice Keith Park. The facility will include courts, fitness spaces, classrooms, locker rooms, and administrative areas. It is intended to expand recreational opportunities, support youth and fitness programming, and serve as a long-term community hub for years to come. Municipal transit roof replacement, estimated cost $530,000. This project replaces the roof of the Beaumont Transit Office and Shop facility. The existing roof has reached the end of its service life and poses a risk to the building and operations. The new roof system will meet current building codes and protect a critical transit facility that supports citywide mobility. Police evidence storage renovation, the Goodwill Building. Estimated cost $335,000. This project renovates the former Goodwill Building to expand secure police evidence storage. Improvements include pallet shelving, security walls, and overhead vehicle access door. This addresses long-term evidence retention needs and relieves overcrowding at the existing police headquarters. Jefferson Theater roof replacement, estimated cost $500,000. This project replaces the roof at the historic Jefferson Theater due to termite-related structural damage. Combined with recent masonry repairs, this investment stabilizes the building and preserves a landmark venue that is central to downtown's cultural activities. Animal Care Center, enclosed of existing kennels. Estimated cost $170,000. This project encloses 31 existing open-air dog kennels at the Animal Care Center, adding climate control and permanent walls without expanding the building footprint and improves animal health while maximizing existing infrastructure. Airport, large clear span hangar, estimated cost $2.4 million. This project constructs a new clear span aircraft hangar to support growing demand from private and corporate aviation. The hangar would generate lease revenue, increase fuel sales, while supporting future grant opportunities. Airport nested T hangar, 10 unit. This project adds a 10-unit T hangar on the north side of the airport to reduce the existing waiting list for small aircraft storage. Like the large hangar, this investment supports airport growth, increases recurring revenue, and enhances aviation infrastructure. Animal Care Services and Adoption Center, estimated cost $7.9 million. This project replaces the current animal shelter, originally built in 1981, with a modern 18,000 square foot facility at a new site. The new center will support Beaumont's no-kill mission, provide expanded capacity, improve public access, and better serve both animals and residents. Citywide facility improvements, estimated cost $10 million. This is a citywide facilities investment addressing deferred maintenance, renovations, and safety improvements across multiple buildings. It allows flexibility to respond to our facilities and ensures the city protects and extends the life of its existing assets. Fire station number 4 replacement. Estimated cost, $6.6 million. This project replaces fire station number 4 with a modern facility designed to current operational standards. The new station will improve response capabilities, firefighter safety, and long-term service delivery for the surrounding area. Police Headquarters and Operations Facility, estimated cost $60 million. This project plans for a new downtown police headquarters to replace the existing 1974 facility that no longer supports modern policing needs. The new facility will improve efficiency, technology integration, employee safety, and public accessibility for police services. Restroom facility at Athletic Complex number 3, estimated cost $445,000. This project replaces outdated restrooms at Athletic Complex number 3 with a modern, multi-use facility. It supports sports tourism, improves visitor experience, and overall an asset that is needed. Restroom facility at Riverfront Park, estimated cost $445,000. This project adds a permanent restroom facility at Riverfront Park. It supports daily park use, large events, and continued riverfront development while improving accessibility and visitor comfort. City Hall Complex, an estimated cost of $56 million. This project proposes a new City Hall complex with a surrounding downtown plaza. The vision is to create a civic anchor in Town Hall Square that enhances customer service, supports downtown redevelopment, and becomes a focal point for public life in Beaumont. Public safety, technology, and infrastructure improvements, estimated cost $1 million. This project invests in cameras, fiber optics, and security technology for new city facilities and major investment areas. All systems will integrate with the city's real-time crime center to improve monitoring, response times, and protection of public assets. And you should have a handout. It's on the Julie Rogers Theater Improvement Project. Estimated cost, $900,000. This project consists of the replacement of the existing curtain and rail rigging system at the Julie Rogers Theater. The current system is outdated, deteriorating, and experiencing ongoing failures, requiring repeated emergency repairs. This work will include replacement of worn and damaged curtains, upgrades to the rail and rigging system, and improvements to ensure safe and reliable operation of stage equipment necessary for daily theater functions and events. So that is all of our facilities projects. Are there any questions?
I don't believe so.
All right. So now we'll go to our downtown projects, which starts on page 45. Underground power relocation, estimated cost $5 million. This project relocates overhead power lines underground at the Hotel and Convention Center site. It enhances aesthetics, improves safety, reduces maintenance needs, and supports long-term downtown redevelopment goals. Riverfront Park amenity and landscape enhancements. Estimated cost $195,000. This project adds additional landscaping, trees, sod, and seating to Riverfront Park. The improvements enhance comfort, shade, sustainability, and the overall look and aesthetics of our new park. City Hall courtyard and plaza renovations. Estimated cost $1.1 million. This project renovates the courtyard and plaza between City Hall and the Civic Center with new paving, lighting, landscaping, and site amenities. The goal is to create a more inviting, functional public space that improves pedestrian access. Civic Center renovations, conversion. Estimated cost, vendor kiosk and family-friendly amenities. It strengthens downtown's connectivity and creates a landmark destination tied to the Hotel and Convention Center development. Riverfront pedestrian bridge, estimated cost $4.4 million. This project constructs an ADA-compliant pedestrian bridge over the railroad tracks connecting the Hotel and Convention Center site to Riverfront Park. It improves safety, walkability, and downtown connectivity while supporting tourism and redevelopment. Riverfront walkway from City Hall Plaza, estimated cost of $1.2 million. This project enhances the pedestrian walkway from City Hall to Riverfront Park with improved drainage.
Year, but we felt like at this point, the best proposal was to go ahead and put them in future consideration.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Riverfront Park to the river. That said, we can continue to work on whether grant funded or whether corporate sponsorship or whether federal dollars. And if that comes to pass, we could always accelerate that project in the schedule, whether through next year's CIP or potentially an amendment. I will say one of the things we are potentially looking at is trying to get another surface crossing. That's going to be dependent on primarily BNSF Railroad to give us the right to access our park over the railroad. But we're going to renew that effort to get a pedestrian crossway. Because if you've been to some of the events downtown recently, very successful. But with the parking over, a lot of the parking over in the Civic Center parking lot, the natural tendency is to try to, cross the rail down there. So to answer your question, we will continue to pursue whether corporate or grant, but also part of this look sooner is to try to get a surface crossing.
Okay, great. And I'd also like to include the port in that conversation.
Absolutely. Yes.
They want us to.
It is our plan to strengthen the entire water system from the source to the customer so that our system is reliable, resilient, and ready for the next generation. We'll start on page 55 for the annual dead end flushing. Estimated total cost, $1,240,000. This program will install flushing equipment at dead ends citywide to maintain chlorine levels and protect public health. It's a regulatory-driven program that aids water quality system-wide. Annual water line replacement, estimated total cost $68,250,000. This is the city's primary program for replacing aging water lines, targeting 1 to 1.4% replacement. Many lines are over 50 years old and showing signs of deterioration. It's critical to minimizing leaks, breaks, and disruptions to residents. The annual water production system repairs, estimated total cost, $11,246,000. This project provides ongoing maintenance and repair for the city's water production assets. That includes canals, wells, pump stations, treatment equipment, and control systems. It ensures operational reliability for critical infrastructure. The annual water transmission line rehabilitation project for $778,000. This project rehabilitates exposed water transmission lines, overhead crossings, canals, etc. It's mainly preventative maintenance, including coatings, wraps, just to prevent corrosion. Page 59, the Buns Canal Improvements Project. Estimated total cost of $5,500,000. Buns Canal is the key raw water intake for the city of Beaumont. It serves our surface water plant. This project will repair the levees, remove sediment to restore capacity, and replace the manual bar screen with an automated system. That bar screen just protects the pipeline crossing under the river and the pumps from being damaged by any large debris, sediment buildup, etc. Lawson's Canal Maintenance and Rehabilitation. This is a significant FEMA-funded project for $18,750,000. The raw water pipeline actually goes inside of Lawson's Canal. So after Lawson's pump station, it pumps it through the canal in a pipeline. That line was shown to have actually shifted during Harvey. So we've got some humps with air gaps. We've got some sediment buildup. This project will clean out that line, actually relay it and anchor it down into the bottom of the canal. It'll also rehabilitate that western levee, so it'll be drivable, or staff can actually drive along and inspect the line in the future years. Lawson's pump station embayment repair, $2,785,000. This project stabilizes the Natchez River embayment at Lawson's pump station. The roadway was stabilized back in 2002, but now the actual pump station area needs to be restored. We also have a responsibility in water utilities to meet evolving federal regulations and protect public health. And so you'll see the next two projects, the lead and copper field investigation and lead and copper service line replacement. The field investigation project has an estimated total cost of $6,650,000. This project will comply with the EPA's lead and copper rule improvements. It includes program management, field investigations, customer outreach, and data modeling. And that identifies water service lines on both the customer side and the city side of the line. The lead and copper service line replacement, this is based on the findings from the field investigation project, estimated total cost of $7,964,000. It ensures regulatory compliance and directly supports public health by eliminating potential sources of lead exposure. It'll replace any lead service lines, but also galvanized lines that require replacement under the EPA's guidelines. The low motor starter and electrical improvement project, again, partially funded by FEMA here. Total estimated cost of $6,300,000. This project will upgrade electrical infrastructure at the Loeb groundwater treatment plant. It'll also elevate that upgraded equipment. So right now we have motor starters. We're replacing those with VFDs. We're looking at raising all the equipment that took a really long time to come in or replace after Harvey. So a lot of the chemical equipment was a quick replacement. All the electrical equipment can take years sometimes to replace. So we're looking at elevating all of that. It allows us to restore service more quickly to our groundwater plant. The Loeb transmission line inspections, estimated total cost of $1 million. This project will perform advanced internal inspections of approximately 7 miles of transmission lines between the wells and then from the wells to the treatment plant and from the treatment plant to the city. These lines were installed between 1959 and 82. On page 66, the Orange Avenue water main rehabilitation. This estimated total cost of $1,200,000 replaces a deteriorating 20-inch water main that crosses railroad tracks near Orange Avenue. The existing line shows signs of corrosion, and replacement within a casing will ensure long-term reliability and comply with railroad requirements. The Pine Street treated water resiliency line, $8,350,000. It'll add redundancy near the treatment plant with a new 42-inch transmission line. It also adds isolation valves to existing lines that will enable inspection and maintenance of existing large lines. Those were pretty much installed in the 1940s and 1950s. The Pine Street Water Production Plant Administration Building renovation, total estimated cost of $2,500,000. This project renovates the existing Pine Street Water Treatment Plant. Basically built in the 1920s. A lot of modifications since, but the improvements address structural repairs, hazardous materials abatement, expands usable space, and replaces outdated assets. The Pine Street Water Production Plant Chlorine Dioxide Injection Project, that project is ongoing. Estimated total cost of $2,210,000. This project is installing a chlorine dioxide pretreatment system at the Pine Street plant. Once online, it'll actually remove iron and manganese from the city's water supply, which should reduce discolored water complaints in the long term. Pine Street Water Production Plant generator improvements, estimated total cost of $2,500,000. This project is replacing an aging generator and improves fuel storage at the Pine Street plant. This brings us from 2 days to 4 days of fuel storage. If you recall, we actually ordered this generator about 3 years ago. That's how long it took for it to be delivered, and it arrived this December of this past year. Page 71, the Pine Street Water Production Plant SCADA improvements. The SCADA system is basically a computer system that helps the plant monitor, collect information, and control equipment remotely. Estimated total cost of $1 million, and that project is ongoing. The upgrades are improving hardware, software, just modernizing the system overall. They're reprogramming the entire system for water production. The production plant South Basin sludge drain rehabilitation. This project replaced aging sludge drain piping and valves near 3 treatment basins at the Pine Street plant. Total cost was roughly $400,000. The additional access points here allow for proper maintenance and prevent future operational issues. The next 2 projects are related to lessons learned from Hurricane Harvey. They're about building a redundant system on higher ground and ensuring that we can always get water to our treatment plant, especially during the extreme weather incidences. The raw water delivery line is ongoing, estimated total cost of $23,645,000. This project is constructing a new 48-inch raw water line from the new pump station at Collier's Ferry to the Pine Street Water Treatment Plant, and it's providing redundancy in the supply and improves overall system resiliency. The raw water pump station, estimated total cost of $30,200,000. This project just built a new 45 million gallons per day raw water pump station on higher ground near Pine Street and Collier's Ferry Park. The new facility not only provides backup for Lawson's pump station, which was damaged during Hurricane Harvey, but it also delivers a more reliable and resilient long-term solution for Beaumont's water supply. The Southeast Industrial Area water improvements. This is estimated total cost at $10,500,000. The project expands water system capacity in that Southeast Industrial Area of town. We constantly have requests for additional water in that area. The improvements position the city to support economic development and future utility agreements, and we anticipate working with the future development partners to support this project. The next several projects are, a lot of the projects that we do are asset management, but the next several I would tie specifically to asset management. These types of projects don't get a lot of attention, but they do extend the life of major infrastructure and prevent a lot larger costs down the road. The storage tank rehabilitation project for the south elevated tank, this project is complete. It rehabilitated the coatings and structural components of the south tank, extending its service life and ensuring continued safe water storage. We also added new drainage infrastructure on site. Total cost was $1,050,000. The storage tank rehabilitation, the northwest elevated tank, estimated cost $1,550,000. This project will mainly focus on recoating, restoring the interior and the exterior of that tank. The low well number 1 replacement. This project will replace the low groundwater treatment plant, well number 1, originally constructed in 1958. The new well and pumping equipment ensures continued groundwater production as the existing well nears the end of its useful life. Estimated cost is $2,300,000. The Dishman elevated storage tank rehabilitation, estimated cost $1,620,000. This project will rehabilitate the Dishman elevated storage tank to restore protective coatings and extend the life of the structure. After the Dishman tank is complete, we will have all of the tanks rehabilitated in the last 20 years. And so that'll extend the life of all the elevated tanks in the city for at least another 20 years is what we expect. The storage tank rehabilitation on the Loeb steel ground tank. This project rehabilitates the Loeb steel ground storage tank, including structural roof repairs and recoating to preserve long-term storage capacity, estimated cost of $2 million. The Pine Street water line replacements, these next 4 projects pages 81 to 84. They're all conditional projects and dependent on that inspection following the resiliency line project. So once we have a redundant line leaving the plant, we can now take each of these lines offline individually, inspect, make repairs. This is kind of a worst case scenario budget for replacing the entirety of the line. We'll go to page 85. The Pine Street Water Production Plant filter backwash waste improvements. Estimated cost of $4,760,000. This project will improve the filter backwash waste system at the Pine Street plant, preventing sludge accumulation and improving overall treatment efficiency. The storage tank rehabilitation lobe concrete ground tank. Estimated cost $2,170,000. This project will rehabilitate the lobe concrete ground tank structurally, but also coating both the interior and the exterior to prevent any cracks or leaks from forming. Lawson's Crossing additional pipeline, estimated cost of $5,500,000. This is a pretty critical project here. It constructs a new raw water line crossing the Natchez River, providing redundancy for the existing siphon. After your new raw water pump station is online, this is kind of a single point of failure in the water system. And so what we're trying to do here is reinforce that existing line and add a new one. Pine Street Water Production Plant basin vacuum chamber blower replacement. Estimated cost $800,000. This project will just replace aging blowers at the Pine Street plant clarifier basins, improve treatment operations and reliability. Page 89, the Pine Street Water Production Plant clear well slide gate replacement, estimated cost of $515,000. The project replaces clear well slide gates and actuators to improve safety and performance during maintenance activities. And you can see on the individual worksheet there, the slide gates are currently leaking. It's not a problem during regular operations, but anytime there's maintenance down there, it is a safety issue. The Pine Street Water Production Plant high service pump valve replacement. Estimated cost of $2,015,000. This project will replace the valves on the high service pumps at the plant, improve reliability of treated water delivery to the distribution system. The clear well rehabilitation, $1.8 million. This project rehabilitates the clear well, concrete repairs, coatings, maintains water quality, and extends the facility's service life. The TxDOT I-10 Highway 69 Cardinal Interchange water adjustments. The difference here between the next two TxDOT projects, the Cardinal Interchange is everything south of Hollywood Boulevard. The East Tex Interchange is everything north of Hollywood Boulevard. So this estimated cost is $3,754,000. All of these costs are paid by TxDOT directly. The East Tex Interchange project, we are paying the contractor and then we're reimbursed by TxDOT. So I don't have a firm number on that estimated cost. That's why I think the price difference here. But we did add the Washington water line replacement to that total cost. The East-Tex interchange estimated total cost is $12,500,000. And again, just relocating all the water infrastructure to maneuver around TxDOT's new highways. The final three projects here, 94 to 96, are just to extend water service and build infrastructure along the Dallin extension if approved. So these major investments in the CIP prioritize the city's water supply, aging infrastructure, regulatory compliance, and support future growth. I don't want you to think about it just as a list of projects, but it's a system-wide strategy to ensure that every resident and business has safe drinking water every day. Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
And now it's Mike Harris's turn for sewer wastewater.
Good morning.
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 I'm gonna talk real slow because I've never had this much time to do a CIP presentation. So start out with the wastewater, our community investment plan. We're gonna start out with 23rd Street sewer trunk line rehabilitation. This project is ongoing. The phase one is being done this year and near completion. Phase two, the work includes repairing structural cavities near the station. I'm sorry, that's phase one. And also rehabilitating approximately 8,800 linear feet of aging pipe from Washington Boulevard. So this is a critical trunk line, and these improvements address deterioration and reduce the risk of failure and protect reliability in the wastewater conveyance. The next one, the annual collection system renewal. This is an annual budget item that we pretty much put on through every year. Beaumont operates approximately 746 miles of sewer main, many dating back to the early 1950s. Each year, this program inspects 3 to 6% of the system and rehabilitates or replaces the most critical segments to reduce overflows, failures, and emergency repairs. Normally, we try to replace anywhere between 1 to 1.2% every year. Annual lift station repairs and improvements. This project provides ongoing rehabilitation and replacement of pumps, motor controls, and equipment at the city's 77 lift stations. It also includes a comprehensive condition assessment to prioritize future needs. This work is essential for maintaining reliable system operations to prevent backups. One thing I wanted to bring your attention to on this particular one, that in FY27, we did increase the budget by $500,000 because we're looking to do a complete lift station assessment on all the lift stations in Beaumont next year. And then once that's over with, it will drop back down to the normal $400,000 budget. Downtown sewer improvements. This project replaces deteriorating downtown sewer infrastructure, including relocation of lift stations, rehabilitation of force mains. The goal is to modernize failing components, improve reliability, and support ongoing downtown development. Harriet Lift Station rehabilitation. This project is one that will bid in a couple of months. Replaces outdated Harriet Street Lift Station with a new facility. Electrical controls will be relocated into a separate building to protect them from corrosive sewer gases. New pumps will be installed and old lines abandoned. This significantly improves safety, reliability, and long-term performance. Lift station electrical improvements. This is another, ongoing project. This project upgrades outdated electrical control systems at several lift stations that have experienced failures, including backups, replaces aging controls, improves reliability, and reduces the risk of service interruptions. Our lift station permanent generators projects. This project installs permanent generators to critical lift stations across the city. These generators improve resilience during power outages and severe weather, helps prevent sewer overflows during emergency conditions. The Southeast Industrial Area sewer improvements. This project increases sewer capacity in the Southeast Industrial Area to support new and expanding industrial users. Existing infrastructure cannot meet projected demand, and the investment positions Beaumont to accommodate economic growth and development partnerships. Wallen Avenue C Lift Station. This is another ongoing project. This project rehabilitates the Wallen Avenue C Lift Station through construction of new control building, new pumps.
Bless you.
Bless you.
Bless you.
And upgraded electrical system. These improvements address deterioration and improve long-term operational reliability. I'm going to skip over the next one. It's the 10 MGD secondary pump. We just voted on that last council meeting. It's just replaces a recirculation pump. Going on to the next page on the wastewater treatment plant generator and electrical improvements. This is an ongoing project. This project upgrades the generator system and the electrical components at the wastewater treatment plant. The improvements include new process controls and relocation of critical equipment to improve safety, reliability, and storm resilience. This project here was actually driven by the fire that we had at the wastewater plant several years back. Wastewater treatment plant high flow station. monitoring. This project installs flow monitoring equipment at the high flow station to improve performance analysis during rain events. Better data allows staff to manage capacity, reduce overflows, and plan for future improvements. Wastewater treatment plant yard piping renewal. Once again, this is an ongoing project. This project inspects, rehabilitates, and replaces aging yard piping between the treatment units of the plant, including trunk lines along the facility boundary, and it ensures continual reliability of internal plant conveyance systems. Wetland outfall pipe support reinforcement. This project is ongoing as well. The project reinforces deteriorating pylons that support wastewater treatment plants, only outfall pipe. Strengthening these supports protect against critical element of the plant operations and prevent service disruptions. And the Florida Avenue Interceptor in Phase 2. Phase 1 was already completed some years back. The Phase 2 project rehabilitates the section of the Florida Avenue Interceptor originally constructed in 1947. The work addresses failing joints, stormwater infiltration, and that have caused overflows, and reduces the efficiency of the Florida Avenue Street lift station. Going into these next ones, these are new projects that we have looked at. All these projects here are found on our wastewater treatment plant master plan that we just presented at the last council meeting. So the wastewater treatment plant grit removal system improvements, estimated cost at $2,786,000. This project replaces aging grit removal system equipment at the wastewater treatment plant. Upgrading this system provides treatment efficiency and protects downstream equipment from excessive wear. And like I said, it is also part of the master plan. The wastewater treatment plant headworks improvements. This project is estimated cost at $1,610,000. This project improves valve crane system at the headwork stations to ensure safe and effective maintenance of influent pumps. The improvements were identified through the treatment master plan. This project here, we actually had taken several smaller projects from the CIP in the past, put them together to make this one project. Wastewater treatment plant pond and canal improvements. Estimated cost at $2,458,000. This project removes settled solids from the treatment ponds and the canals, repairs levee slopes. The work restores capacity, improves treatment efficiency, and extends the useful life of these assets. The wastewater treatment plant sludge digester and clarifier wall repairs. This project repairs cracking and protective coatings on sludge digesters, clarifier structures. The repair preserves the critical treatment infrastructure and prevents long-term structural damage. And it has an estimated cost of $1,797,000. Wastewater treatment plant high flow transfer and outfall pump improvements. Estimated cost at $1,325,000. This project evaluates and rehabilitates key pump systems that handle high flow events and discharges. These improvements ensure reliable operations during storm conditions and peak loads. And this is a big ticket item here that we had talked about at the last council on the master plan. It's the wastewater treatment plant moving bed biofilm reactor upgrade. It's at an estimated cost of $28 million. This major project adds a moving bed biofilm reactor system to increase treatment capacity, improve effluent quality. It supports compliance with current and future regulatory requirements and reduces the risk of reduces the risk to the downstream systems.
since this is so new to us, the master plan just came out, we are going to explore what the opportunities are to help with that.
Thanks, Molly.
Thanks.
Wetland cell improvements, estimated cost of $5,446,000. This project rehabilitates treatment wetlands by regrading cells, replanting vegetation needed for effective wastewater treatment. The improvements increase efficiency and extend the life of the wetland system. Wastewater treatment plant chlorine contact chamber wall rehabilitation. If you notice, this one is actually in the future, under future considerations. We're seeing some deterioration in the contact chamber of the walls, but it hasn't been enough to where we need to act upon it in the next 5 years, but we want to earmark this for, later consideration if we start seeing more deterioration in it. It does have an estimated cost of $1,400,000. It recoats and repairs the concrete walls and chlorine contact chamber. And moving into the TxDOT I-1069 Cardinal Exchange. This is the sewer adjustments for that project. This project relocates the wastewater infrastructure to avoid conflict with TxDOT. The costs are reimbursed by TxDOT on this project. And same thing with the TxDOT I-10 Highway 69 East Tex interchange. This, like I said, is for moving the wastewater structures out of the TxDOT's way. As with the Cardinal interchange, the work is funded by TxDOT. And going into the last three projects, like I said, these are for future extensions. On the Dallin Road extension from College to Washington, the project extends the sanitary sewer service to support future development along Dallin Road extension between College Street, Washington Boulevard. Estimated cost at $1,310,000. Dallin Road extension from Walden to I-10. The project installs new sanitary sewer lines along the Dallin Road extension between Walden Road and I-10 to serve as future development. It's also estimated cost at $1,325,000. And finally, the last one is the Dallin Road extension from Washington to Walden. Its estimated cost at $1,640,000. This project extends the sanitary sewer line infrastructure between Washington Boulevard and Walden Road. So I kind of went through it kind of fast. Any questions on any of it?
Great job. Crenshaw?
Thank you.
Yeah, and you're talking about the sewer improvements. Can you tell me in 2027, out of those line items, which ones are going to focus on alleviating sewer from backing up into homes when we have heavy rains? Because that continues to be, and I know we've made significant improvements, but that continues to be a hot topic item with
Sure. I would say the majority of these projects, our goal is to prevent the sewer backups. Majority of sewer backups are caused by the I&I, or the inflow and infiltration. So looking at these projects, going with like your 23rd Street lift station, rehabilitating the line going, the trunk line, it's going to, of course, increase flow, which increasing flow, that's going to help us move the wastewater out of the lines faster than what we can now. Your annual collection system, I mean, that's probably the big one that does the most good as far as this, because we're out rehabilitating the existing sewer mains that's has outlived their life cycle.
So we've spent 6.7 million on that this year,
Yes, sir.
and we're going to spend 6.1 million on it next year.
We usually spend about 6 million every year on this project.
Okay.
Last year, I think we did spend a little more because we had more funding from the ARP funds. Yeah, I was thinking ARF, but yeah. So like I said, yeah, that one up there, it's definitely a good one.
And for a point of reference, and correct me if I'm wrong, The green number, which is the revenue bond, those come from our enterprise funds, which come from charging for water and sewer. So being able to project, when we talk about increased water rates, oftentimes what they're able to do is help us speed up our ability to do this work and do more work. So even though people don't like them, and certainly understand that, because every time we discuss them, my phone rings. But it's not just for current delivery, it's for future, and also playing catch up because we were behind on our sewer. You know, our sewer, many of our sewer lines have outlived their useful life cycle.
Sure. And one thing to keep in mind too, when you see these lift station projects, to kind of go into a little bit how the sewer system works, it gravity feeds from the house service lines into the main gravity mains that will go to a lift station. Once it gets to a lift station, then it's pumped through force main to another lift station or straight to the wastewater plant. So anytime we're doing improvements on lift stations, the thought is to, number one, increase the efficiency of that lift station, but also at the same time to move this water out or the wastewater out of the system faster into the plant. And once we get the water, talking in, rain events or, high water events, the faster we can get the water moved out of the system into the plant, the more relief the citizens have. So like I said,
And also-
anytime.
That's why we're also adding for FY '27 annual lift station repairs. So we have 3 specific lift stations that are identified: the Harriet, the Wallen Avenue C, 23rd Street. But those are 3 of our largest, but we have 78 of these pump stations in our system. And so this condition assessment is going to begin the process of evaluating all of these smaller lift stations as well to make sure that they are operating as efficiently as possible. Speaking to Mike Harris's, because you can do so much in the system, but also too, you have to make sure that your pump stations are functioning efficiently, getting the water to the big stations so the big stations can get them to the plant.
Avenue C, 23rd, and what was that third one?
Harriet.
Harry?
Harriet.
Harriet. Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Would that take care of you, Councilman Hilliard, what you were asking?
I was gonna bring up.
Okay.
Okay, good morning.
Good morning.
Now I will walk you through our streets projects, and we will begin at the beginning with the annual sidewalk repair, and that is separate from our citywide sidewalk initiative. This is continuing work to make repairs to our existing sidewalks, and just like we found, our brick repairs are, or we have ADA issues, or we have our strong emphasis as well near schools and school-related destinations. So this is our day-to-day sidewalk repair work. Our next program is our annual street rehabilitation, and that is, we're investing on our 667 miles of roadway that we own and maintain. This program includes our asphalt overlay projects, our concrete repairs, full depth pavement repairs, curb and gutters, and pavement preservation, pavement markings, and pavement condition evaluations. And this is also where we use our pavement condition study to determine the prioritization for those projects. Then we get to our Avenue A and Avenue C roadway rehabilitation projects. These are the first ones of the general obligation bonds that we are issuing. Avenue A is going to be rehabilitated from Washington to College Street, and Avenue C is going to be rehabilitated from Crockett Street to Harriet Street. And these roads have experienced significant failure. The scope of work for both of these projects includes milling off of the asphalt, performing base repairs, curb and gutter repairs, then resurfacing and updating the striping, along with associated storm sewer repairs or water or sanitary sewer repairs within that roadway. Next is our bridge repairs project, locations citywide. This was at 13 city-owned bridges. We will be bringing the closeout of this project to council's consideration next week. So we are glad that this project has been completed. It's very important to us to get these finished. Next is our Carroll Street and Sycamore Street roadway rehabilitation. I'm trying to go fast and I can't. And that is on page 134. This is also a general obligation bond funded project, and it will rehabilitate these streets from Buford to Fulton Streets, and that is concrete curb repairs, joint sealing, resurfacing, and updated pavement markings. Next is the,
Question.
yes, sir.
This Carroll Street and Sycamore Street from Beaufort to Fulton, that's right outside of ExxonMobil, correct?
And the Port of Beaumont, yes, sir.
Okay. Are they contributing to some of this damage?
They are not participating in this project.
No, or the damage to these roadways caused by vehicles going to their facilities?
It's a very high traffic volume, very heavy traffic volume, and that has led to the deterioration of these streets. And this is the project that we presented for consideration in the election at that $1.5 million cost estimate. I'm sorry, $2.37 million cost estimate. And that's what the voters approved for the city to issue debt for to perform those repairs.
Okay.
Our next project is a grant that we presented to council at the last meeting, and that was a $1.5 million for the citywide school zone sign improvements project that will install solar-powered uniform assemblies with cloud-based monitoring citywide to all of our schools and within our school zones, including the private schools that have identified school zones. This will improve consistency, reliability, and safety in our school zones. Next is our citywide sidewalk initiative that was approved by the voters in the bond election, and that is estimated at $10 million. Currently, we are estimating to spend roughly projected about $2 million per year for the life of the project, and this will provide for the funding for the citywide sidewalk master plan. From there, we will have then the guidance that we need to strategically invest the remaining balance of the $10 million to construct new sidewalks, make necessary repairs, install new accessible ramps, driveway replacements, and safety enhancements based on the plan's findings. Next is our Doucette Avenue roadway rehabilitation. And this is also a general obligation bond project, estimated just under $2 million to rehabilitate Doucette Avenue from Sycamore Street to MLK Parkway. And this is experienced also additional pavement failures. It is in the neighborhood of the Carroll and Sycamore Street roadway. Again, this also includes concrete repairs, curb and gutter repairs, resurfacing, pavement markings, and any necessary utility or storm sewer improvements underneath the pavement. Next is the East Lucas roadway rehabilitation, also part of the bond election, estimated just at $1.2 million. This will rehabilitate East Lucas from Magnolia to Pine, and it will slightly widen the road, mill off the asphalt, overlay it with new asphalt, and which will improve operations, reduce the edge deterioration of the roadway, and provide a safe, smooth roadway for the public. Next is our Gladys Street roadway rehabilitation, also part of the GO bond election, estimated at about $4.3 million. This will resurface Gladys Street from I-10 to Edson, and then from Edson to Dowling. This work includes milling, curb repairs, resurfacing, and updated striping. If you'll recall, recently we replaced the water line along the length of this roadway, and so now we're coming back and we're going to address the pavement. Yes, sir.
Are we gonna address?
Your microphone.
Will this address the flooding between Howell and Edson on Gladys?
We will evaluate that as part of this project because it's not going to do us any good to do these repairs and have it get overwhelmed
Right.
and see what we can do to
Because it
address
does
that
flood
issue.
between Howell and Edson.
Yes, sir.
It always has. It feels, it goes up over the curbs and becomes a,
Yes, sir.
okay.
Making a note. Next is our Highland Avenue roadway rehabilitation projects on page 140. This is estimated at $5.3 million. We recently started the milling operations on the southern portion of this project, and we are going to avoid doing any asphalt work until school lets out for the summer. And this is going to be a similar rehabilitation to what we just did on 4th Street. And so it will be a pavement preservation. So we're going to resurface, make concrete repairs, updated pavement markings, and a road diet configuration with dedicated bike lanes, similar to what you see on 4th Street. An ongoing project on page 141 is the Highway 105 and Major Drive Traffic Study and Improvements Project. We have about $750,000 allocated to this project. This is the comprehensive traffic study that we've recently completed on Highway 105 from Keith Road to the fire station. And we are continuing our coordination with TxDOT to identify what opportunities we have to make improvements to the safety of that stretch of road. That has included participation from TxDOT to improve the signals at East Tex Freeway at Highway 105, improvements to the signals at 105 at Major Drive, roadway striping, and as I explained to a caller yesterday, we've not taken any options off of the table, but we are still continuing to work through that with TxDOT as our partner.
And what, if I might, what is the study's now complete? Because I've heard different things.
They've not issued the final. We have, the draft was sent to TxDOT. TxDOT has been in the process of reviewing it. Once they are through with their review, we will schedule the meeting with our engineer and their engineer. We'll sit down, hash through it. TxDOT has comments, we have questions, work together to get a path forward for future solutions.
Okay, and that path forward, I know it would include the potential of a traffic signal at RFD and 105, but assuming that there's a chance that may not happen, is part of what you're looking at and considering some dedicated turn lanes?
That's what we're exploring to see what those construction costs would look like to have a dedicated right turn lane off of Highway 105 onto RFD Road with another dedicated turn lane off of RFD Road onto Highway 105, those sorts of things. Improving the efficiency of the signal at Highway 105 at Major Drive, especially during the peak traffic hours, has a significant impact on what can happen at RFD Road. So that is something that TxDOT is working with us on.
Okay, great, thank you.
You're welcome. Our next project on page 142 is the last of the streets on the general obligation bonds, and that is Hoover, Dollinger, Cottonwood, and 7th Street rehabilitations, estimated at roughly $3.7 million. And this is going to rehabilitate a group of truck route roadways experiencing advanced pavement failure. Again, this is milling, base repairs, resurfacing, curb and gutter repairs, and storm sewer work as needed. Many of these that were presented for the general obligation bonds, as Councilman Durio pointed out, are really associated with the heavy truck traffic that we experience due to the growth in the city of Beaumont. So these are opportunities to continue to enhance our economic development in these areas. So project page 143, the major drive at Northwest Parkway traffic signal. So estimated cost is at $130,000. We just received a tentative approval from TxDOT last week. So hallelujah. This will install the new traffic signal at Major Drive and Northwest Parkway. Our goal is to have everything complete by the end of this fiscal year. So we are moving forward with this project now.
When will they actually see people out there working?
We don't have a timeline on that yet. We're still determining what the ETA is for the material and equipment. So, but once we have more information, we'll absolutely share that with everyone.
Okay, but we think it will start by the end of the year, or we think it'll be finished by the end of the year?
Our goal is to be complete by the end of this fiscal year.
Now, is the groundwork already laid for those lights?
The foundations are in place.
So it's just the poles and the lights, but the wire and
And
everything's
they'll let, we're still evaluating what the condition of the wiring, or is it just conduit, so we need to pull wire. So there's still a lot of detail work that we need to complete on that. But the plans that were submitted to TxDOT several months ago, we finally got a letter last week saying that they have approved it in concept, but of course, we still have to continue to work through this. Our next project that gets a lot of attention on page 144 is our quiet zone median reconstruction. We were on target. We were doing everything we could to be complete by the end of May. Let's just call it railroad drama, where we saved the most complicated crossing for last, and that is at Langham Road. The railroad threw another wrinkle at us that is affecting our schedule on the south side of Langham Road. Who knew? And so we are continuing. The contractor is very committed. They really did. They had a short window on Tuesday to make progress on this based on the latest developments from the railroad, and I do have to commend them on how much work they were able to complete in a very short window of time. So if we could pray for no rain on the following Tuesdays until this project is complete, prayers appreciated. Next project is our traffic and network fiber replacement down the College Street corridor.
May I just add, Molly, and thank you for that. That's a big deal. And I also want to say thank you to Councilman Hilliard. Despite what some may critique on Facebook or social media about what you're doing, you have led the charge on that project. It is something that we get numerous complaints and concerns about from all parts of the city. That is something that you have really carried the flag on, and I greatly do appreciate you doing that, and for the work of staff. I know anytime you're dealing with the railroad, it is extremely frustrating and difficult and slow, and y'all have navigated that, and the city is very grateful for the quiet zone finally coming to a completion.
Amen. Thank you.
Thank you.
Always done a great job. You really
Thank
have.
you. Thank you so much.
And I think it's been mentioned one time before, but I know from talking to the contractor, what's also unique about that is the railroad is the one that has to provide the flaggers. So when the flaggers aren't there, they can't work. So it doesn't matter if they got all their staff there, they can't work. So
And they pay them like, what, $1,200 a day or something stupid?
I don't think,
Let's not
I
talk
just
about
think
that
there's a
part.
shortage of flaggers. So I am applying.
I mean, I will apply too.
So the latest wrinkle is that the southern portion is impacted by it's an unmanned rail car that is not connected to their flagging system. So so we can only work on Tuesdays, and we now have a window of about 4 hours on Tuesdays to work on the south portion, the south side of Langham Road. So that was new, surprise. And we found this out Monday, and the contractor did a great job of getting it together and really cranked out some work on Tuesday. So we'll pour concrete next Tuesday, weather permitting, and do the best we can with the challenges that they've presented to us.
They've worked. I mean, even on, I know we all people were upset about the one lane, but I mean, they went
Yes,
You're doing a great job.
they are. They are. Thank you.
Molly,
Sir?
there's other parts of the city that have been asking for these quiet zones. I hope you don't forget about it,
Not a bit.
okay?
Yes, sir. So our next project is on page 146. I'm sorry, mentioned the network fiber down College Street. This is a city fiber optic line that provides communication between our downtown offices and our facilities on the far west of town. And so we are working with engineering now to get started on the railroad crossing permits. Speaking of the railroad, Highland Avenue over the LMBA bridge replacement is estimated at $800,000. Sorry, I was looking at the Highland Avenue roadway rehab. Sorry. And that is our project, our bridge that goes over the LMBA canal, and it's going to replace it with a wider, clear span structure. These bridge projects that you will see us bring forward from time to time, these are a result of TxDOT's off-system roadway bridge inspections. And so these are projects that we are obligated to complete. So this Highland Avenue project is part of that program. Next is our Broadway Street roadway rehabilitation scheduled for FY28. And this will rehabilitate Broadway Street from MLK to 11th Street with a full roadway rehabilitation. This is a project that has been on the books for quite a long time, and we're happy to be able to bring this one forward. Will include milling, resurfacing, curb repairs, and storm sewer work. Next is the Calder Avenue Bridge replacement and widening. So I'd be on the next slide. And on page 148, scheduled for fiscal years 28-29. And this will replace the aging Calder Avenue Bridge over Hillebrand Bayou with a wider structure that provides improved travel lanes and a protected pedestrian sidewalk. We do get a lot of feedback about this bridge being so narrow, and so this is our project that will improve that. Next is our Park Street roadway rehabilitation, and this will address Park Street from MLK to College. This is a major corridor that brings traffic to our downtown off of MLK, also to our port and to portions thereof. And so this is estimated at $3 million. Our next two projects are new projects that we are going to propose for a future general obligation bond election. That's why they're highlighted in gold. And the first is the Dishman Road roadway rehabilitation that is estimated at $1.36 million. This will rehabilitate it in its current cross-section. This is not to bring it to the width of what you see on Delaware Street on the other side of Major Drive. This is simply to rehabilitate it in its current configuration, to mill and overlay the asphalt and shape the ditches. And I think we're going to do some slight widening to that roadway. The partner to that is the Keith Road roadway rehabilitation, estimated at $1.6 million. And it's similar. This is to rehabilitate it in its current cross-section, not for any future widening or development to a different cross-section. Yes, sir.
So I know this is a concern for both the city and the county. At this point, we're proposing to include it as a GO issue in 29. Now, we are in conversations with them, so if the funding looks different or there are different options, we certainly could look at that. But right now, the city, especially on the Dishman side, the city is, the southern side, of course, is in the city limits. A portion of the northern side is in the city limits. We know and we believe that eventually that will be within the city limits itself. And so and I will say that, if you go out to the neighborhoods at the southeast corner of Dishman and Keith, those folks are in the city limits. And so this road services folks who are in the city limits. So looking forward down the line, our thought is to try to accelerate this through this process by adding it to the CIP. But to your question, if we are able to make other arrangements, we certainly will try to do that. Yes, sir.
Those conversations are
Going on. Yes, sir.
So next is our also a new project for future general obligation bond election, page 152. It is the $5.2 million North End Quiet Zone project. So this would consist of the upgrades of 13 crossings along BNSF's corridor that parallels Hellbig Road, and it's quiet zone, so to allow for the elimination of the train horn sounding while maintaining compliance with federal safety standards. Next is a new project for future general obligation bond election consideration, $2.4 million to establish the Old Town Quiet Zone, which includes improvements at 6 crossings and the closure of one to improve the safety of the crossings and reduce train noise impacts in the Old Town area. This is our crossings that are just west of MLK, from Calder down to South Street. Next, we have the Pecos Street roadway rehabilitation. This is a project that has been on the books for quite some time, and we're able to finally start shifting this one into a future plan. This is $2 million to rehabilitate Pecos Street from between Jaguar, 7th and 3rd Streets, addressing the pavement failures through resurfacing, curb repairs, and storm sewer improvements. Next is our South End Quiet Zone, a new project for future consideration for the general obligation bond election, estimated at $4.4 million. This will implement safety improvements at 19 crossings and will close 8 crossings to establish the South End Quiet Zone.
Councilman Duria.
Any chance of that being moved up?
So you could always accelerate it in the CIP as an adopted budget. That's up to council. I would also share that to try to manage expectations, this is regulated by the federal government. So as we look to these, especially these new quiet zones, there are certain regulations and requirements in terms of being able to establish them as such. So to answer your question, we could certainly move these up in the schedule, but I also wanted to add that ultimately the federal government's going to have to prove whether the money's there or not, whether or not they can be implemented.
The last evaluation, which was performed a few years ago, at that time recommended 8 road closings of the railroad. So depending on and that is a process in and of itself to reach out to the community to tell them that that crossing right by their home is going to be closed. And if that is going to change, we would have to evaluate that if they're going to want to require additional closures as well. So that can impede the traffic flow through the city. We also want to be strategic about these closures and the timing of them, because we know that there are other locations where we want to either add a crossing, such as to Riverfront Park. And so it is always going to be a balance, and it's never really a balance in the city's favor. The railroad's position is no new on-grade crossings. So we will have to give up in order to receive, or we give up and we don't receive anything.
Where is this one gonna be from where to where?
This one is from, I think, College to Cardinal.
College to Cardinal? Okay. Okay.
So next of page 156, this is the College Street roadway rehabilitation. This would rehabilitate College Street from I-10 to Main. with pavement preservation treatments on the asphalt section, which is from I-10 to Amarillo, and then concrete panel repairs from Amarillo to Main Street. This is to extend the pavement life of a major arterial corridor that is seeing a lot of growth and development. Following that, the next 3 projects that were previously considered for the bond election, those were the Dowland Road extensions from College all the way south to I-10. There were significant costs. Page 160 is a different project. This is the Dowland Road roadway rehabilitation project estimated at $5.5 million. And this will combine pavement preservation of the portions of the asphalt that are still in reasonably good condition, plus full reconstruction of those portions that demand it due to deterioration in the service life of those portions of the pavement. So that is the existing portion of Dowland as opposed to the 3 previous projects, which were the extension south of College Street. Next, for future consideration, is rehabilitation of Jim Gilligan Way from MLK to Jimmy Simmons Drive, addressing the pavement failures on this arterial roadway that serves some industrial areas and some industrial businesses, as well as Lamar University. Next is a new project, and it is the Marina Drive roadway reconstruction, and it is found on page 162. This would reconstruct the southern portion of Marina Drive, and that is from the Yacht Club or I-10 south to Pine Street. And this would help us acquire the complete acquisition of the right-of-way for that portion of Marina Drive, and then be able to reconstruct it to have safe, reliable roads for the industrial growth that is happening on the island. Next, on page 163 is the Natchez Street roadway rehab, and that is Natchez Street from MLK to College Street, and that is major arterial to leave downtown to get down to MLK Parkway. And then lastly is the Point Parkway North Extension that was part of the bond election. Are there any questions on the streets? Okay.
Yes, Councilman Williams.
So when will the sidewalks master plan start?
So we actually have a meeting this evening with the Bond Facilitation Committee. And so we will discuss the finer points of what is going to be in the request for qualifications. And we will start the solicitation shortly thereafter for proposals from qualified firms to help us with the preparation of that master plan. That procurement process ends up taking about 60 to 90 days, depending on how long it takes to evaluate the packages that they submit, and we'll be able to bring a recommendation to council and then execute those agreements and give them a notice to proceed.
What do you expect them to, whoever we go with, what are the things you think they'll look at and kind of deciding where we?
So some of the things that we're preparing them for to give them the necessary data is provide a condition assessment of our existing sidewalks, to also identify where are our pedestrian generators, where are we seeing the pedestrian traffic, and also to what are the challenges along those routes in order to be able to connect them, whether they are the schools. Of course, schools are always going to be our priority, but beyond that, then where are commercial centers and also medical centers to be able to enhance the mobility throughout the city, and also to bring to us any best practices, whether it is maybe we need to update our ordinances, maybe our ordinance is out of date. What are some things that we can do to help us strategize, not just to spend the balance of the $10 million once the study is complete, but also, do we need to come back next fiscal year and amend the first line item of the annual sidewalk repairs and adjust our investment in the sidewalks to really tell us what do we need, where, what additional or what detailed studies do we need to provide as well, because there's There's going to be areas that need sidewalks that are going to require significant investment. And where are those easy wins where we can make a big impact with a smaller investment? And we just need somebody with a independent set of eyes to come in and tell us these things.
Okay. Yeah, that was gonna be my next question. I think you kind of answered it. So schools will kind of play a big role in.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And Mayor,
Councilwoman?
just, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I thought did we not have a short list that we were already working from with
We
sidewalks?
we have the list of feedback that we have received from the committee, and I'm glad you asked that question because another requirement is going to be opportunities for the community to provide input, whether it is town hall meetings, a charrette, website, where the citizens can come in and say, look, from here, point on a map, from here to here, I have kids trying to get to school every day and they're having
Elderly.
to, they're or the elderly are trying to get access across the railroad tracks.
Right.
And we need assistance in these areas. Those are that's the type of feedback. And then that way they can receive it, quantify it, and give us our recommendations.
Thank you, that's what I was.
Mayor, just to echo some of what Molly was sharing is, as you all know, we have hundreds of miles of streets without sidewalks. And sometimes the profile's right where you just have to add a sidewalk. As you know, sometimes we have open ditches or not enough right of way, and then it becomes very, very expensive. So I think as Molly was pointing out, we want to try to get the most bang for our buck, but realizing, and again, trying to manage expectations, this will help us get started on some of this. But our hope is, as part of the planning process, is to have kind of an objective scoring criteria whereby the prioritization is based on, need. As Molly mentioned, generators. At the end of the day, council will decide where they go, but hopefully we can provide an objective process whereby they can be scored and recommended accordingly.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm glad you mentioned that because managing expectations when you say sidewalks, we gotta be honest, we're not working on all sidewalks everywhere, okay? We will have an expectation of what we can do and being honest, because people think, oh, they got this money, they fixing all the sidewalks. No.
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. Okay, so next are our drainage projects, and this is a not as extensive list. Here we go. So our first project is on page 167, and this is our annual citywide ditching program. This is a program that's been in place now for 3 years, and this will continue for another 3 years, funded through the general obligation bonds at roughly $3.5 million per year. And this is to mop out. This is for this first process. We're working on about 20% of the roadside ditches per year. So this will allow us to finish and get us to the 100% of the first pass through the city. And then after that, we have areas that are going to require additional work and additional improvement. And that's why we are going to continue this program into the future, even after we exhaust the general obligation bond funds. To make sure that our roadside ditch system is operating as efficiently as possible. We have already seen a decrease in the calls, even though we have been in a bit of a drought. But in the areas where we have mopped out these ditches, and then the city comes through and then jets and cleans the culverts after they finish digging out the ditches, we are seeing great dividends in the efficiency of our drainage system for these roadside ditches. The next project is our annual storm sewer cleaning, which was at $2 million per year over 3 years. And this is to remove the debris, the sediment, and the obstructions from our underground storm sewer system. And a lot of times it also goes hand in hand with the ditching project. And so this is a project that's already gotten underway, and we are developing a dashboard that will be, in the future, will be on the city's website, where the public can observe in real time where the work is being performed and the progress that we're making towards completing and hitting these $2 million per year target. Next is our annual stormwater pipe inspection, point repairs, and data asset management project. And this is the partner to the storm sewer cleaning. So this is a line item where the consultant is going out and they are mapping our system, performing inspections of the structures and the pipes. And then they evaluate that data, make recommendations for point repairs or for storm sewer cleaning. And so then the storm sewer cleaning is a line item that was broken out for that and is being paid through the GO bonds. But the $1.5 million per year is through certificates of obligation and data asset management. This is one of the areas where I think we had the most ground to make up in improving our mapping of our storm sewer system. So this is providing a very detailed survey level mapping of our storm sewer system. And in the areas where we have performed this storm sewer cleaning, we are seeing improvements. And so we are targeting the areas for the cleaning that have a strong history of flooding complaints. And we are working our way through that program. Next is our annual underpass pump station repairs and maintenance program on page 170. So the city operates and maintains 8 underpass pump stations. And so this allows us to rehabilitate, clean, repair, and replace aging pump station equipment. Next is our Broad Oak Street outfall ditch rehabilitation, and this is also a general obligation bond project. And that is to rehabilitate an existing outfall ditch along Broad Oak Street that then crosses Hellbig Road and goes out to Pine Island Bow. This will allow us to acquire the right-of-way that we need in order to rehabilitate that ditch and then be able to maintain it safely. Right now it's pretty wooded, and this area has suffered significantly from flooding events of Pine Island Bio. So this will go a long way to help that neighborhood and also the businesses that are closer to East Tex Freeway. Next is a grant project. It is the Irving Underpass Pump Station Generator Replacement. We are still awaiting confirmation of when we will receive these funds, but the Irving Underpass Pump Station Generator is very important to access ExxonMobil and Charlton Pollard neighborhood and the Port of Beaumont. So having reliable power at that pump station is critical. And so we hope to get a favorable response soon and be able to order that generator. The next 2 projects are the result of the 2019 floods grant project, and that was the Laura Addition Drainage Improvements and the Phelps Road Drainage Improvements projects. Each were estimated at roughly $1.5 million, and these were to regrade and clean the roadside ditches, replace and upsize the driveway culverts, replace surface inlets, and reconstruct the storm sewer outfall where it connects to the Drainage District 6 system. And the Laura Addition project is complete, and the Phillips Road project, I think Councilman Durio can confirm, I think it's just about done. We've made a lot of progress on that one. Next is a federal earmark grant, our underpass flooding early warning system improvements. I think we just got word in the last week or so that this federal earmark was approved. And so the earmark doesn't cover the entirety of the project, but this will allow us to install the necessary equipment to monitor the water levels in these underpasses, activate flashing warning lights and alerts when flooding thresholds are reached. This is a very important project to preserve the safety, and so we are exploring all of the technological avenues that we can to be able to communicate to our drivers when these underpasses are flooded. So very excited about what this project will bring to us. And then next is the West Lucas Drive Storm Sewer Rehabilitation. Total cost is estimated at just north of $15 million. The remaining 11 million are what are assigned to the general obligation bond, and this will rehabilitate the large steel arch storm sewer pipe that runs along West Lucas Drive. It's about 12,000 feet long, and we are beginning the engineering process on this project, and we look forward to seeing this one be completed. I'm waiting on a time estimate on how long the construction portion will take. It's possible it could take about up to a year, but I'll have confirmation on that. And as we work through these projects, we'll be presenting them to council as well. And lastly is a new project, Stonetown Road Drainage Improvements, estimated at $181,000. This is a road, Hillcrest Drive ends at a dead end, but the roadside ditches continue on to Pine Island Bow. Some property owners have agreed to donate drainage easement, so this project will allow us to acquire the additional easement and right-of-way and rehabilitate and maintain this ditch as part of the public drainage system. Do we have any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor, Council, I would like to thank staff again for their work getting us to this point. Again, just to review today's process, we went over some city financial overview as well as city budgeting. Of course, today what we talked about was primarily with capital projects. Those are over $100,000 in value with a useful life of more than 20 years. Moving forward, as we get into discussions on more of our operating side of things, our next steps, again, June 3rd, we'll have a second budget work session to discuss key issues and trends. And then July 15 would be our third work session, and that's where we'll discuss a draft budget as we work towards adoption of the FY27 budget. That's all I have.
All right, thank you. Well, with that, we're going to move to council member comments before we adjourn, and I will begin with Councilman Durio.
I just want to tell our staff, y'all did a great job with your presentation. Really appreciate it. And that's about it. Thank you. Appreciate all your hard work, especially you, Molly.
Thank you, Councilman Durio. Councilman Hilliard?
I'll just echo what Councilman Durio said. Great job, very informative, and I know it took a lot of hard work, a lot of extra hours, so we really appreciate y'all doing that. So thank you, guys.
Thank you, Councilman Hilliard. Councilman Williams?
Yep. Thank you for everybody excuse me. Thanks to everybody for working on this, and look forward to diving into it.
Councilwoman?
Thank you, guys. Great job. We appreciate all that you do. And we're happy to help to make Beaumont better. I'm excited about what this is looking like. Let's go. Let's get to work.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilman Crenshaw?
Yes, great job, staff. This is my second budget workshop. Haven't gone through this process last year. To me, it seems like the book and the examples that we have in here and the information is much more concise and well put together. So many projects that we've been talking about and wanting to advocate on behalf of the residents of this city were reflected, and it sounds like staff is listening to the council and prioritizing what projects we want, and I greatly appreciate that attention to detail and what you guys are doing. That's all.
Thank you, Councilman. No words from our Madam City Attorney. Molly?
Mayor, I just want to echo what everyone else has said, and I really want to thank all of the staff who really put a lot of hard work into putting this document together. They've been working for the last 3 months on this document that you have in front of them, and there are actually staff who are not even here today who participated in putting the CIP together. So we're glad to be at this stage because now we can focus on the operating budget, which we'll be doing over the coming months. But you will see this document once again. Council will adopt the CIP in September when we bring the budget to council for adoption. Thanks.
Thank you, sir.
No comments other than echoing, thank everyone for all of the work that's been put into this, because it has been a lot just to get to this vote.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you.
Nothing. Nothing, Mayor.
All right. And certainly, thanks as well, and a smooth meeting, 11:32, setting world records here. And with that, the meeting is adjourned.